Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Red Shadow's Favorite Games. I'm the Red Shadow, and I'm back once again to do a couple videos today, since, life happens, and I missed a few more days of recording. But I'm back today, and I'll probably do 2 or 3 videos on my favorite games, and I've already done one vlog. And then I was going to get started on my favorite TV show series now that I wrapped up the main section of the YouTubers' videos. But anyway, near the end of the last favorite games video, the one for Kingsfield 2, I believe it was. Was it Kingsfield 2? I think it was Kingsfield 2. Or no, I'm sorry, it was Downhill Domination. At the end of that video, I mentioned something about how I hadn't touched on some PS1 RPGs, even though I mentioned talking about that. I'm not doing that in this video, or probably anytime really soon. Until my living room is sorted out once again, I can't really dig onto some of my shelves to get games to show off for these videos. So I'm doing a video about another PC game that I really love, and I'm just not going to make any promises on what the next videos are going to be from here on out. So anyway, without further ado, let me talk about today's game. And that game is an old 90s PC point-and-click adventure by the name of Phantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh. Now, as I'm prone to do for these kinds of videos, I like to show off the games and any related games, so I'd hoped to have big box versions of these to show off for this video by now, but due to my financial issues right now, I'm going to be putting that off for a while. I have a bead on what I consider to be a pretty decent deal online, but I just don't have the money for it right now. So there will more than likely be an unboxing video in the future to show off big box versions of this. But anyway, once again, blah blah blah. This is what is called Phantasmagoria Stage Fright. And what Stage Fright is the original game, Roberta Williams' Phantasmagoria, and the sequel, Phantasmagoria Puzzle of Flesh. Now, I love both of these games a lot, but I love A Puzzle of Flesh more. And I'm going to get into the whys here in a moment. But I also wanted to show off my strategy guides. This is the official player's guide for the original Phantasmagoria. This is, I guess it's literally officially from Sierra. This is the Puzzle of Flesh strategy guide. It's a Prima book. Prima's Secrets of the Games. But I kind of love the cover. The cover of the game itself, which is replicated here on the cover of the strategy guide, was pretty provocative, and kind of ties in a little bit as to why I got into this game in the first place. But going back to this, I'll take these out to show them off, but I have both the original Phantasmagoria and A Puzzle of Flesh through GOG.com. On my PC, and that's pretty much the way that I game this when I'm playing it, which I just recently started playing A Puzzle of Flesh again, which is what inspired this video. There's the, I guess that's just the manual for the first game. Somewhere, I think, I have seen the one for Puzzle of Flesh. I hope so. I hate to lose stuff. But anyway, these are the discs that come inside of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and last but not least, 7. 7 discs for the original Phantasmagoria game. And I see that a couple of these are locked together, so here is disc 1 of 5 for Puzzle of Flesh. There's 2, 3. These two are latched together somewhat. number 4, and number 5. There it is, 5 of 5. Puzzle of Flesh. I mean, anybody out there who's, who was probably born in the 90s doesn't even realize that games came in so many discs sometimes for older consoles and for the PC. But that's the collection that makes up Stage Fright. Like I said, I have designs on someday getting the big box version of both of these games, like literally individual. Not even this, because I don't remember if this had a big box with it and I just threw it away over time like I did with some of my others, or if I literally bought it off the shelf like this. But enough talk about that. Let's talk about the games themselves. I want to cover the first Phantasmagoria really quick because it deserves a mention, and I do have what I consider to be a really cool story that ties in with the first game. I'm just going to read really quick the description on the back of the strategy guide. Life is perfect for Adrienne Delaney. She's a successful writer, she's happily married to a loving husband, and they just moved into their dream house, a fabulous Gothic mansion. But then the terrifying nightmares start, and the mansion takes on an eerie supernatural life of its own, and visions of gruesome, horrifying murders appear at every turn, and Don changes. He withdraws, he gets short-tempered, as if something's gotten under his skin. Maybe something has. Do you dare find out? Do you have the brains and bravery to uncover the mansion's terrifying past and defeat the evil its former tenant brought into the world? Steel your courage, keep your wits about you, and hold on tight to the Phantasmagoria Official Player's Guide. It's your best hope for surviving the dark world of Phantasmagoria. It's what I needed to get through the game. So the first game, as you heard, is about Adrienne Delaney. You take control of her. She's a writer. She's just moved into this new house with her husband. He goes off to do his husbandly duties. He's working on the house. He's Mr. Fix-It. He's got to take care of things. She's trying to get into the atmosphere of the home and the new neighborhood they're living in and start writing. But as it mentioned on there, things change. And the game is all about taking control of her and trying to uncover the mysteries of this house and deal with her husband as he changes. And that's where my cool story about this one ties in. The gentleman who plays her husband in that, his name is David Home. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. He was phenomenal in that role. He nailed it for something that wasn't, a game that wasn't loaded with big-name actors. These were people who did really, really well in the role. Now, there's some cheesiness to it, as there always is in horror anything. But I still think that both he and the lady who plays Adrienne Delaney did really good jobs for this video game. But when I thought about this game a couple years ago, I looked it up on Facebook to see if there was a page tying into this game and the other game, so I could just give them a like. And within, I would say, 20 or 30 minutes of liking the Phantasmagoria page that I found, I got a friend request from none other than David Home. And I accepted it, and he liked a few of my pictures on my wall and made a few comments. And every once in a while, and once in a great while, because I'm sure he's a busy guy, but he's commented on things over the 2 years that we've been friends on Facebook. I just thought that was really, really awesome that some guy who, is an actor, he's in that world, he's, distanced from everybody else, but he still loves this project enough to like Facebook fans. So that was really, really awesome, and that's just one of those things that just doesn't really happen. For most people. I mean, even Twitter allows celebrities to tweet at people and whatnot, and that's a pretty big deal. But it's kind of commonplace over there, and I don't think it has the kind of connection that this does. So anyway, that has enhanced my memory and my enjoyment of the first Phantasmagoria game. But this video is really about A Puzzle of Flesh. So let's get into this one, shall we? I'm going to pull one of these discs back out because I want to tell the story of one of the things that really got me to notice A Puzzle of Flesh when it was out on the store shelves. I worked at a Shopco in Montana in the mid to late 90s, and we had a section full of the big box PC games. Oh, how I wish I could just go back and loot them shelves of everything that I would ever want. But I was looking at this box, and this friend of mine named Brian was looking at this box. And on the front of the box, since I don't have the big box version, I'm going to try to focus in right here. I'm getting some glare there. But these are a rating system here. This is the RSAC advisory. I'm not really sure what that RSAC stands for. I'm used to the parental advisory type warnings, ESRB ratings. That's what I'm trying to think of on games. But this one had a rating system here of 1 to 4. On the violence, including blood and gore, this was rated a 3 out of 4. On nudity/sex, this was rated 4 out of 4. For provocative frontal nudity, well, I can't speak words today. Provocative frontal nudity and non-explicit sexual activity. There are some parts in this game that is essentially like softcore. It's something you would see on Skinamax, as they call it, in the middle of the night. And the language, strong, vulgar language, gets a 3 out of 4. And my friend Brian and I, we just kind of marveled over that. That was something we hadn't really seen in the late 90s in a video game. I mean, this was long before Grand Theft Auto. This was long before just so many other games that pushed the envelope. This one was pushing the envelope and then some. So yeah, I'm a full-blooded grown male man. I wanted to see what the hype was about this. So I picked up this stage fright thing, and I jumped right into Puzzle of Flesh. And it's cheesy. It's hokey in some ways. It's convoluted. The acting isn't the most top-notch, but it works for what it is. And what it is a very bizarre story. Going away from the kind of like ghostly spirits and haunted house aspect that Phantasmagoria was into, Puzzle of Flesh puts you into like this guy named Curtis Craig, and he works at an office. It's a pharmaceutical research and development company, I believe. And he writes codes and does things on the computer there in an office full of other workers. There's his boss, there's his girlfriend, there's his best friend, there's his rival, and there's the other hot chick that works in the office with him who's actually interested in him, even though this guy comes off as such a dork. But I love him for it, it's like he's a lovable dork. And you get involved with not only his girlfriend, but the other lady. And then there's his best friend, and he confides in him. And then he has his girlfriend who seems to love him, but he doesn't really seem to want to go that far as to make that verbal commitment with her. And then there's his immediate supervisor, but then there's also the boss over the thing, and he ties into the story that really is the underlying like momentum on this game is the story of Curtis and his parents and what happened there with his parents. Like his mom went crazy, and his dad worked at the same company that he works at now, and he starts to uncover these repressed memories when he goes to see a shrink. I mean, it's like really, really detailed. It's really kind of intricate plot. But then, of course, and there are spoilers coming here, so divert your ears if you want to actually play this crazy game. But in the end, instead of it being some sort of a demonic thing, something haunted like the first game, it's actually aliens. Okay, whatever. As an X-Files fan, I guess I can go for it. That's probably the one part of the game that let me down, though, was getting to the end to find out it was some alien story. But otherwise, it's a really, really hilarious game. It's, like I said, it's cheesy, but you'll laugh, you'll enjoy kind of uncovering some of the weird mysteries. Another thing that I love about this, and I almost forgot about it, it has another aspect to it that's very reminiscent of the X-Files game, the PC game that I highlighted in my first video in this series. Your character has the ability to make phone calls to other characters, which you could do in the X-Files game, and you get some interesting / amusing exchanges in that. He also has a computer system where he can email to his fellow workers and whatnot, and he gets a lot of interesting emails that not only from his coworkers, but from just like random, out of nowhere messages from his dead dad and all kinds of crazy stuff. But you can respond to some of them just the same way that you could respond to notes and emails in the X-Files game. So it's just those little details that really do it for me at times, and this game was loaded with them. So I don't think it's a really super expensive game to find on eBay. In fact, the deal I'd been watching for big box versions of Puzzle of Flesh in the first Phantasmagoria, they were wanting $35 for the two, plus like $4 or $5 for shipping. To me, $20 a piece for a couple of big box PC games is going to be pretty good anyway. I can't imagine anybody selling a complete big box type version PC game of anything for $5 or $10. But if somebody wanted to find these, also you can go to GOG.com like I did, and I know I paid like $6 for a Puzzle of Flesh, probably no more than $6 to $10 for Phantasmagoria. They're available that way, and you don't have to deal with the discs. Right now, if I try to install, I think both, or at least a Puzzle of Flesh, my computer gives me errors. That was another reason why I went the digital route. But I also wanted to own just about any way I could these couple of games that I love so much. So if you're a big fan of the old point-and-click style PC games, but maybe you never got to play the Phantasmagoria series, give it a look and check it out. And you just might find yourself pleasantly surprised. But be warned, though, both games contain a little bit of the violence, the language, the sex. They push the envelope in those ways. But Puzzle of Flesh is probably the worst perpetrator of the two. Alright guys, well, stay tuned for the next video in the series. I'll see you soon.